these chains all around me, all around me. But I'm free when I'm walking with you. There's no one else that can come close to doing the things that you can't do. Know that you're there when I call you. There's nothing that can surpass you. Everlasting love, it'll never end. Montidele, speak to me tonight now. Speak to me tonight now. Montidele, speak to me tonight now. Speak to me tonight now.
Tell me how much you worth it. Say baby you call me. Say baby you send me. I'm a Johnny, no one let me. Ooh, tell me how much you worth it. No, no. Baby you call me. No, no. Say baby you send me. I'm a Johnny, no one let me go.
Montidele, speak to me tonight. Tonight. Montidele, speak to me tonight.
Emptiness is a universal disease. I think inside that at some point we put our heads down on the pillow and we go, there's got to be a more to life than this.
I've been searching for a long time. I've been looking for my whole life. Steady looking for that peace I find that I find in you and no one else. Never going to my whole life. Found my place in you with everything I need. Yeah, life and meaning, no. On my heart I'm giving, Lord. Do you take me, mold me, and use me as you want to, Lord. Cause I'm yours and you are mine. From today to the end of time. And everywhere I'll let them know, say now you will touch my life. Cause Papa, you're far too kind. With your goodness, Lord, I find that all my flaws and all my wrongs, you have put them all behind. You made something out of nothing, regardless of my past, and you have ended all my searching. Lord, you gave my life a meaning, beauty from my ashes, regardless of my past, and you have ended all my searching. Lord, you gave my life a meaning.
You should've seen me back then. Never had hope. Heart full of empty, pocket full of dope. Stand on that corner all night long, alone in the dark till the break of dawn. Until that day came, you switched up the gameplay. Got me plugged in like a PlayStation, and I never go back like the name. I look forward to our time like it's play dates. Yeah, you gave my life a meaning, and now I am winning. Yeah. All day, every day, your name I will praise, oh Lord.
You made something out of nothing, regardless of my past, and you have ended all my searching. Lord, you gave my life a meaning, beauty from my ashes, regardless of my past, and you have ended all my searching. Lord, you gave my life a meaning. Life a meaning, life a meaning, life a meaning, oh, life a meaning, life a meaning. You gave my life a meaning, life a meaning, life a meaning, life a meaning, oh, life a meaning, oh, you gave my life a meaning. Cause I'm yours and you are mine, from today till the end of time. And everywhere I'll let them know, say that you will touch my life. Cause Papa, you're far too kind. With your goodness, Lord, I find that all my flaws and all my wrongs, you have put them all behind. You have put them all behind.
crazy ways. At times I stop believing, but your love says, hey, I'm here, I ain't going nowhere. Your pain and your fears, I'll make disappear. I'm gonna trust in you. I'm gonna believe what you said you would do. I keep holding on. I will trust in you. I'm gonna believe what you said you would do. I'll keep holding on. Through my darkest hour, through the pouring rain, through the deepest tunnel, through the hurt and pain, through the disappointments, and through all the shame, and through the lonely moments when I call you. I'm gonna trust in you. I'm gonna believe what you said you would do. I'll keep holding on.
Good day, good day, good day, and welcome to the month of September. I pray everybody's doing well. Guys, I want to jump straight in because we've got so much to cover and so little time. So I'm going to start by asking you a question, and that is, how many of you desire to have more power in your life? If that's you, literally, let me see the words "I do" in the chat. If you're joining us live on YouTube, feel free to show "I do" in the live chat. If you're joining us through means of the private room inside, feel free to write "I do" in the chat. Or if you're someone who's watching this on a replay, feel free to write in the comments below, #replay, I do. How many of you actually desire to have more power in your life? I see those "I do's" coming through in the chat right now. Well, how many of you have discovered that when you've done something great, you've acquired power in some area, you look back and say, I wish I did that earlier? If that's you, just say "I have" in the chat. If that's you, literally just say "I have" in the chat. If you're someone who's ever actually done the stuff you needed to do and turned back around and said, you know what, I wish I had done this earlier. I see "I do" even in the YouTube. I see "I have" inside of the room. Well, first and foremost, the first thing I want to do is congratulate you, because you've put yourself in the right place today in order for you to not only learn how to have that power, but more importantly, how to take that power and decide to not have to wait to say to yourself, I wish I did that earlier. Today, you're going to get the opportunity to literally jump right in to the opportunity to have more power than you've probably ever had before. So like I said, congratulations. We're going to get kickstarted today in Matthew chapter 13:44. I assume I'm going to be all over the board today because there's so much to convey, but we are going to get the value anyway. Let's go. Matthew chapter 13 verse 44. When you're there, just say "I am" in the chat so I know that you are there. Let's go, let's go, let's go. What I might actually do, I might actually just start at the board so I can just stay at the board. throughout the whole session. There's so much stuff I want to share. All right, I see the I ams in the chat. You guys seem like you are ready to go today. I'm absolutely loving this. You guys look like you are ready to go today. I'm absolutely loving this. All right. Bear with me, guys. Close the door, please. Thank you. Are you coming in? Zechariah wants to say hello to everyone today. Where's your wave?
He's trying to copy you.
Well done. Awesome. All right. I'll see you later. That's all right, Zech. Love you, champ. See you later. All right. So we're in Matthew 13, verse 44. We're in Matthew 13, verse 44. And yeah, let's do it. Let's jump straight onto the board so we can jump right in. Matthew 13, verse 44. Yes, we can do it. We can do it. Let's go. All right, guys, those of you inside of the room, when you can see the board, just let me see a yes in the chat, and then we're going to switch mics and then make sure you guys have got everything we need. All right, Dwayne is there, boy. Full speed ahead. He says yes. All right, and we should have switched mics by now as well, so you guys should hear it all on the other mic. If you can hear the other mic, let me see a yes in the chat. So today what we're going to be talking about is how principles produce your power. I'm going to say that one more time. I want you to get that clearly. Principles produce your power, as I'm literally knocking all this stuff over right now just to get you guys into today's session. So we're in Matthew chapter 13, verse 44, and we're discussing how principles produce power. Now, one of the things that's interesting is many people in their life crave for more power. Many people in their life desire more power. But the challenge and the problem for many people is they have no idea how to get more power. I'm here today to equip you and give you and show you the pathway to more power. And it's not as complicated as you think it is. So without further ado, let's jump right through. Matthew 13 verse 44 is where we're getting started. In Matthew chapter 13 verse 44, it says, "Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure." Now let me ask you something. Is treasure valuable or not valuable? If it's valuable, just write the word value in the chat. Those of you who are watching us on YouTube, if it's valuable, just throw the word value in the chat. All right? Because I want you to see how this works. Because this is so rich once you start to understand it. All right? Matthew 13:44, I see value in the chat. Matthew 13:44, it says, "Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hidden in a field." It's literally right in front of us. It says, "The which, when a man hath found it, he hides, and for joy thereof he goes and selleth all that he has and buys that field." Let me share with you a secret. Maybe this is even the first principle for you to get comfortable with. While some fixate, others appreciate. I'm going to share that again. I know that might have been a bit too fast, but let's go. Whilst some fixate, others appreciate. You see, here's the beautiful thing about life. Life is a sequence of seeds. Many of you may have never heard that before, but that's what life is. Life is a sequence of seeds. You get opportunities every single day to plant a seed. And here's the beautiful thing. Trees are a byproduct of seeds. Trees don't just show up. Trees grow up. Someone's going to get that on their way home. You see, the issue for many people is many people don't realize that life is a sequence of seeds. And if you realize that life is a sequence of seeds, guess what you can do? Hello, somebody. You can start to plant more seeds, which will produce more trees. You see, the moment you start to realize that life is a sequence of seeds, you won't be someone who fixates, you'll be someone who appreciates. Who are the people that fixate? The people that fixate are the people that spend their time staring at their seed. I remember years ago, I was in a time of prayer and the Lord put something so profound in my heart. The Lord shared with me, "Samuel, don't eat your seed." You see, some of us have spent our time, spent our past eating our seed. And I'm here to tell you something. We haven't done it on purpose. Many of us have done it because we've been pre-programmed by the school system to do that, to eat your seed. Here's the interesting thing. If you eat your seed, you've got nothing to plant. You see, this is why some people fixate when others appreciate. While some people are so focused on the little seed they have, other people are appreciating with the trees they end up having. Don't become someone who's so addicted to the seed that you end up with greed and you don't even end up getting what you need. While some fixate, others appreciate. Guys, I want you to make a declaration today. Are you going to be one of those who fixates on a seed or appreciates with your tree? Let me see in the chat, which one are you going to be? Because this is how life works. While some fixate, others appreciate. Some people are so focused on a seed, guess what? They'll never have a tree. Some people are so mindful of the tree, they will find the treasure, recognize the treasure as what they desire, and they will get rid, according to Matthew 13:44, get rid of all they have in order to acquire the actual treasure. You see, I want you guys to understand something. Here's the first principle. We receive solely based on what we relieve. We receive based solely, only, exclusively on what we relieve. You see, some of us won't relieve the seed. And because we won't relieve the seed, we can't receive a tree. You see, in property investing, it's exactly the same. You put down a deposit in many cases. Do you know what that deposit is? It's your seed. Do you know what the house is? That's your tree. Oh, if someone's getting this, put yes in the chat. I want you guys to understand how this works, because this is why so many people are lost. Because so many people are waiting on a tree when they've never even planted a seed. So many people are waiting to appreciate when they realize they've spent all their lives having to fixate. Don't be that person who's thinking, I'm supposed to earn, when you haven't even done the first step, which is supposed to learn. Oh, I'm ready to break this down today. You see, I shared with you guys today that you should congratulate yourself because you're in the right place. And the reason why you're in the right place, because you're in a place where someone's going to be transparent enough, truthful enough, and tell you the truth, which is, listen, stop focusing on those trees. Stop focusing on those seeds. This week, we've been running our 5-day cash flow creation challenge. And one of the principles that I was actually teaching, a principle I don't usually teach, is why we should focus on keys instead of getting focused on doors. And one of the things I shared with a group of people is put your hand out like this. And everyone put their hand out like this. And you guys might want to do that right now. Just put your hand up like this right now. And I said to everyone, listen, now whilst your hand's up there, I said to them, can a door fit in your hand? And everybody said, no, a door can't fit in my hand. Guys, you tell me in the chat, can a door fit in your hand? Can a car door fit in your hand? Can your house door fit in your hand? Can any door fit in your hand? The answer is no. But here's the beautiful thing. Can a key fit in your hand? Someone told me if a key can fit in your hand. You see, when people hear me and Robbie tell people small keys open big doors, sometimes they're baffled. They have no idea. What is he talking about? Small keys open big doors. A key can fit in your hand, which means a key is something you can handle. The problem for most people is they're so focused on doors. Oh, I wish I could live in that house. They're so focused on doors. Oh, I wish I could drive that car. They're so focused on doors. Oh, I wish I had that kind of a portfolio, that they've never worked out. They need to get focused on keys. Something you can handle. Let me tell you something. It's something you can handle that will give you something more than you can currently handle. I'm going to say that again. It's something that you can handle that will give you something more than you can't currently handle. Than you can currently handle. How does that make sense? How does that work? I'm so glad you asked. Let me explain. You see, keys are what open doors. Doors do not open themselves. Keys are what open doors. And this is the mistake most people make. Most people are so focused on doors that they can't open with or without a key, that they don't get focused on keys that are the only thing that can open doors. I want you guys to understand how this works. Stop being focused on what you're supposed to relieve so that you can start to receive what you're supposed to receive. If you get focused on seeds, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be able to plant them and receive trees. If you're so focused on trees, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be so afraid you'll never plant a seed. I watch people on a regular basis literally mess up their life. I know people who want to be better parents, right? And they've never invested in a book or a program or a training to learn about how to be a better dad. I watch people who tell me they want to be financially free. They've never even put a pound down to discover what financial freedom actually is from someone who's achieved it. Listen, guys, I want you to understand how this works. You have to understand, in order to succeed, that we receive solely, exclusively, independently based on what we relieve. If you do not relieve the seed, if you don't let the seed go into the ground, let me tell you something, you haven't even started the process of getting a tree. Let me share with you about one of the experiences I had about relieving a specific seed. A seed at the time I didn't even know was a seed. A seed at the time I didn't even know was a key. In 2016, Robin and I were invited to join a coaching program. That coaching program was £16,000 plus VAT. And for those in the States, when I say pounds, I'm not talking about the pounds you want to shed from your waist. I'm talking about pounds in terms of pounds like dollars. And here's the interesting thing, £16,000 plus VAT is equal to £19,200. VAT in the UK is 20% on top of whatever you're paying. And VAT, for those of you who don't know, stands for value added tax. It's a taxation, all right? So we paid to join this program. And in the 12 months of the program, I was able, from one of the deals I did, to create over £100,000 in equity. Now that's not even including the cash flow I created. That's not even including all of the other subsidiary revenue. I'm just talking about one deal in that 12 months. Now, why am I talking about that? Someone tell me this, right? 100,000, is that bigger or smaller than 20,000? Someone tell me in the chat. Those of you on YouTube, let me know in the live chat. 100,000, is that bigger or is that smaller? Those of you watching this on a replay, hashtag replay, bigger or smaller, let me know in the chat. Which is it? Here's the thing that's interesting. 100,000 is not only bigger, it is at least 5 times bigger than £19,200. At least 5 times bigger than £20,000. Let me tell you something. The £19,200 was a seed. The £100,000 was a tree. I'm going to say that again. I want you to catch this. The £19,200 was a seed, which I had to relieve in order for me to receive the £100,000, which was the tree. If someone's understanding what I'm talking about, let me see yes in the chat. Let me see I do in the chat. Let me explain something to you guys. You see, most of us will never relieve a £19,200 seed. Let me tell you why. Because we want that to be our tree. Some of us don't even get it. Some of us don't even realize. Some of us don't even know. We don't even realize that that's why we're lost. We don't even realize that that's why we can't move further, faster in our future. We don't even realize that as long as you make something a tree that's supposed to be a seed, you are going to stick in a place of need. Some of you are getting the maths and I haven't even explained it. Let me go deeper. You see, when I received the extra 100,000, what can I choose that extra 100,000 to be, guys? Some of you are getting this now. I want you guys to understand how this works. Some of you have no idea how this works. Guys, I'm telling you, this is why some people have been blocked. All right, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, Israel. All right, interesting. Okay, here's the thing I want you guys to understand. Some of us don't understand why our life has been blocked. Some of us are lost. Some of us are thinking, you know what, I want my better future, but you can't realize why you can't get your better future. Someone tell me in the chat, the 100,000, once I've received it, what can that become for me? It could only be 2 things. Just like the 19,200 could only be 2 things. And most of us don't realize this. You see, a pastor once said, and this is how I learned it, he said, every single thing in your life can be a seed. That £100,000 that came in, it could be a tree. Or I could say, you know what? That's no longer a tree for me. When I only had the 19,200, I barely even had that. I had to borrow to get that. When I barely had the 19,200, guess what that was for me? I allowed it to be a seed. I know other people in 2016 had more money than me, but let me tell you something. Their 19,200, they allowed to be their tree. Oh my gosh, someone's going to see. You see, the only way you are going to actually level up to where you want to go in life is when you start realizing that what other people are calling their tree, for me, is going to be a seed. This is how power is produced by principles. This is how some people think they're operating in power, but you and I hope, are going to be operating in principles. You see, when you operate with principles, let me tell you what happens. Everything everything changes. You see, some of you have been waiting for things to change. And let me tell you why nothing's changed. Because you haven't realized that what you think right now is your tree is actually just your seed. While some fixate on the seed, others appreciate with a tree. I want you guys to understand we receive solely based on what we believe. Let's go into the second principle. I'm going to share this with you. Proverbs 18 verse 1. I want you guys to get this. Proverbs 18 verse 1. For those of you who've been rocking with me for a while, you would have known this. For those of you who are brand new to my world, this is the first time you're going to see this, but I hope this is going to bless you. Proverbs 18 verse 1. I want to show you something, right? Because I want to show you why so many people are lost in our generation, why so many people are living with hesitation, and why so many people are addicted to procrastination. Let's go. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 1. It says, through desire. That means you have to have something. You have to have something you desire. It says, through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. You see, I want you to understand this. All right? I want you to understand this. Most people have no clue about this. All right? Most people pay money, go on coaching programs, and never even learn these basics. Let me give you the basics. Proverbs 18 verse 1. This shows us the path to earning. You might want to write that down if you're someone who's wise enough to be taking notes. This shows us the path to earning. Let me switch color so you guys can get this. You see, Proverbs 18 verse 1, it says, through desire, a man has to separate himself. You see, if you want to get on the path to earning, it starts in your life by a process called learning. If you don't become a learner, you will never, ever, ever create new earnings. You have to start the process by being a learner. I congratulate those of you who are on this, whether you're inside of the Zoom. I congratulate those of you who are on this, whether you're inside of the YouTube session. I congratulate those of you who are on this, whether you're watching this on a replay. Let me tell you why I congratulate you. Because you are taking a step to learning something. But let me tell you something, learning alone is not going to rescue you. There are some people who try to plug into all the learning but still can't work out why they're not earning. Let me tell you something, learning alone will not rescue you. Learning alone is not planting the seed. Learning alone is not planting the seed. I want you guys to understand that. Some people think learning is how the seed is actually planted. That's not how the seed is planted. That is not how the seed is planted. That's just one specific way for you to start the process of earning. And after you become a learner, you have to do something that it says in Proverbs 18 verse 1. It says, through desire, a man separates himself. You then have to become a turner. You have to be someone who says, you know what, I'm turning away from my old way. You see, when I was young, there were certain things I used to do to get money. I had to turn away from those paths. You know why? They weren't the paths for me. Those paths were not even a seed. But like I said, so many people are fixated instead of appreciating. So many people are focused on the seed rather than realizing they're going to get a tree if only they'll relieve the seed so they can receive. You see, I don't know what area of your life you've been holding on to stuff, hoping to get breakthrough. Well, let me tell you something. You don't get breakthrough in the areas you hoard. I'm going to say that one more time. You don't get breakthrough in the areas you hoard. Let me tell you 3 reasons why. First reason, you don't have the space to receive the new stuff. Someone's realizing right now. You don't have the space. You don't have the space. How are you going to have the space to receive the new stuff when you're blocking the area of the new stuff with your old stuff? How are you going to have a tree in a location where there's no seed been planted? It's impossible. Why? You've blocked the space. You've blocked the space. You've blocked the space of that ground with no seed. So how are you going to have a seed inside of that area? It's an impossibility. And many of us live our life blocking the space of the grace and then complaining in its place. Oh, why did that happen? Oh, who's going to help me? Oh, when's someone going to rescue me? Oh, bro, why didn't you let me on for free? Oh, bro, why didn't you just open the door for me? Because you don't have a key. You don't have a key. How can you come into a room without a key? The door is there. And everyone who came in had to use the key. You didn't use the key, but surely you think you should be in the room. It doesn't work like that. Because principles produce power. And let me share something with you guys, because I want to be very transparent with you. Every time in our life we don't follow the principles, even if we think we've got the power, we don't have the power. Someone needed to hear that. I've watched people think they're going to find their own way to do principles and not produce the power. And years later, and this is the worst thing, right? The worst thing is in Revelation, I'm going to share it like this. In the book of Revelation, Jesus said it better than I could say it, right? Through John, he literally says, I wish that you were hot or that you were cold, because if you were lukewarm, you're going to get the worst treatment. You're going to be vomited out. Why is this the worst thing? I'm going to share with you why it's the worst thing. The people that are lukewarm think they're hot. And they don't realize they're going to get vomited out. You see, when you live a life lacking transparency, thinking you're in the same room that you're supposed to be in, but you haven't got in that room the way you're supposed to get in, guess what happens? You get vomited out. And later on, you're looking around saying, but I was in the room. I was in the room. I was in the room. The question is, did you have the key? The question is, did you get into the room the same way you're supposed to get into the room? Or did you get into the room some next way? Many of us don't realize this is why things aren't working for me, because I'm trying to be a learner. I haven't decided to become a turner. Turning is different to learning. Learning is having the information. Turning is having enough understanding to execute on the information and see a revelation. Yesterday in our VIP session, people were asking me a whole bunch of questions, and one of the questions, I gave them the answer. A particular lady, she asked me, Samuel, when should I leave my job? I understand what you showed me now. I know I've got the path. When should I leave my job? And I said to her, I said, look, what I usually share with people when they ask me that question is there's two paths. And I gave her two paths. One of the paths, I said, you need to have proof of concept. You need to have a proof of concept. You need to at least do this thing and see that it actually works for you. Because here's the funniest thing. All principles work for all people. They don't discriminate. But here's the problem. If you do not believe, you cannot receive. It doesn't even matter if you've got the information that you need to achieve. Some people have the information but never get the transformation because they lack the organization. How can you lack the transformation because you don't have the organization? I'm so glad you asked. Because you've been a learner to get the information but not a turner to put it into organization. And whilst you are a learner and develop to becoming a turner, that's when your life can get dedicated and focused, and you can become sterner on the things you've believed. You see, the sterner group of people, let me talk to you about them. Those of us who have become sterner, we're the kind of people that say, I ain't going back. We're the kind of people who say, no, you ain't going to see me there again. We're the kind of people who have to leave friends because we understand those friends are trying to keep us down here on the path to earning when we are trying to walk up here on the path of learning. Let me share something with you. You see, all of us should do an audit, especially as men. We should all do an audit of our association. We should look around the people that we spend the most time with. Let me tell you something. I get people who tell me some stuff, right? Sometimes it makes me laugh. I get people who tell me, bro, you're the person I speak to the most. And I literally laugh. Let me tell you why I laugh. Because the circle of your association are the people you default to when you have a problem or when you're trying to figure something out. Someone's never heard that before. That's going to help you. That's worth more than the price of admission. Your circle of association are the people you turn to when you have a problem or you're trying to figure something out. If you're trying to figure something out and the first person you start thinking about is your old boy Ronald, who you met in McDonald's, let me tell you something. That's your circle of association. It don't matter if you try to lie to yourself, gas to yourself. No, these are my guys. My guys are the people on the path to multi-millions. So I'm on a path to multi-millions. No, you haven't learned yet. You haven't turned yet. You haven't become stern yet. This is why some of us have fooled ourselves, because we do not realize it's what we relieve which determines what we can receive. Proverbs 18 verse 1, it tells us, through desire a man having separated himself intermeddleth with all manner of wisdom. That means after you learn, you then determine that you're going to turn. And it's after you turn that you can invest your time to become more stern. And now you've become more stern, guess what's going to happen? Automatically. Because success and failure are both automatic. From there, you can then earn. This is when you become an earner. Let me tell you something, guys. Do you know many people are crying over spilt milk? Many people are crying because they haven't earned yet. But what they don't realize is you're not going to earn until you get to this part of the path which is becoming more stern. I'm going to say it again, because some of us, our parents have lied to us. Some of us, our schools have lied to us. Some of us, our friends and families have lied to us. And I'm just going to tell you the truth. You might be sitting there thinking, Samuel, my parents didn't lie to me. My parents love me. Listen, sincerity is not a test of truth. The fact someone tells you something sincere, guess what? They can be sincerely wrong. The fact your parents love you doesn't mean they told you the truth. Because if your parents, like my parents, told you, go to school, get a good job so you can retire and get everything you require, I'm here to tell you, you got sold the 40-40-40 plan. Oh, I see in the faces, some of you don't know what the 40-40-40 plan is. If anyone wants to know what the 40-40-40 plan is, throw the numbers 40-40-40 in the chat. I'll give you the 40-40-40 plan and show you the 40-40-40 plan that most of us got scammed with. Most of our parents taught us the 40-40-40 plan. Most of our schools taught us the 40-40-40 plan. The 40-40-40 plan is a plan that most people have been scammed with, and most people are living and loving the 40-40-40 plan, which is a scam. Oh, I see it in the chat, 40-40-40 plan. Let's go. Here's the 40-40-40 plan. The 40-40-40 plan states that you should work for 40 hours every single week. You should work at least 40 hours in a year. Excuse me, at least 40 weeks in a year. And you should retire on 40% of what you make currently in a year. That's the 40-40-40 plan. It's a scam. Work for 40 hours a week, for 40 weeks minimum in a year, and live on 40% of what it takes you to make currently in a year. Let me tell you something. If you're struggling right now to live on your current income in a year, you better get off this 40-40-40 plan, because when you retire, you ain't going to have more money than you make in a year. You're going to have less than half of the money that you make in a year. If someone understands what I'm talking about, let me see I do in the chat. Proverbs 18 verse 1 teaches us something. It tells us that the principle of separation creates the power of elevation. Someone needs to write that down. Proverbs 18 verse 1 teaches us that the principle of separation creates the power of elevation. Some of us want to elevate in our life, but we haven't been ready to separate in our life. You haven't separated the seeds from the trees. Some of us haven't separated in our life from the old school stuff. Some of us haven't separated from the gas where we tell ourselves, oh, I know what he knows because I've got the same coach as him. Or I know what she knows because I went to the same school as him. Let me tell you something. There are people who went to the same school as you who aren't living where you're living right now. If I'm correct, someone put yes in the chat. Let me tell you something. There are people who had the same coach as you who aren't producing the same results as you right now. Someone, if they understand what I'm talking about, throw the yes in the chat. Let me tell you something. There are people who have even the same parents as you. Let me go there. Who aren't producing what you're producing right now. Some of us are producing substandard results to people who had the same parents. Substandard results to people who have the same schooling. Substandard results to people who have the same coaches. And we don't understand why. And then you're going to complain and feel a life of strain instead of understanding how to gain. The pathway to earning is right there. You have to start to learn. You got to humble yourself. The Bible says it so clearly. It says, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God and he will exalt you. The problem we have in our generation is we've got a proud generation. We got a generation who think they're going to create their own path to prosperity. Let me tell you something. Prosperity has been ordained by those who practice principles. If someone understands this, put I do in the chat. I want you guys to understand how this works. The principle of separation creates the power of elevation. If you want to elevate, you need to start to separate. If you desire to elevate, you need to begin to separate. You need to separate from yourself from people who don't produce results. Let me tell you something. There are people around every single one of us who aren't producing the results. And if we want to focus on the seed, guess what we're going to do? We're going to partner up with those people, not realizing that those people haven't got the results. Not realizing they're not the best people to partner with. Not realizing that we have to become a learner so we can become a turner. Turners are different to learners. Why? They've turned. A learner's only learned. People who are stern are different to those who have turned. Why? They've made a commitment to become stern. They've said, I'm never going back. Let me tell you something. How can you say I'm never going back if you're still where you were? All right, someone fax me when you get that one, right? Someone fax me when you get that one. That's going to take a few days. And for those of you who are too young to understand what a fax is, just Google that. Just Google that. You see, the principle of separation is what creates the power of elevation. You see some people who are powerful, they're elevating in their life, and you're like, wow, man, the way this guy's elevating, you don't understand why he's elevating. He's elevating, she's elevating because they're separating. And let me share this with you. It might be a bit too hard for some of you, but I know you guys love me enough to hear the truth. Here's what I'm going to share with you. Beware, because you might be the next person they separate from. Beware, because they might be on a continual journey of elevation, which means they're on a continual journey of separation. Beware. You might be the next person they have to separate from because they want to continually elevate whilst you might be trying to procrastinate. Beware that you're not the next person they need to separate from. You see, you have to become a learner, but after being a learner, don't stay a learner, become a turner. And once you're someone who starts to turn, listen, be someone who's committed to becoming more stern so that automatically you'll be someone who will be able to earn. Let me share this with you. All earning, someone needs to write this down, all earning is a byproduct of first learning. All earning is a byproduct of first learning. Multiple people in this world are trying to earn, they haven't even started to learn. And let me tell you something, if you haven't started the first step on the path, don't expect to be on the fourth step of the path. It doesn't happen. All earning is a byproduct of learning. One of my coaches, Dr. Myron Golden, he literally teaches a lesson. It's called the faster you learn, the faster you earn. And it's powerful, like even sharing about Dr. Golden, it's powerful because I'm going to share this with you guys. So one of the things I learned from Dr. Myron Golden, and those of you who don't know who Dr. Myron Golden is, you can go check him out. He's an American businessman, author, speaker, coach. And one of the things I learned from him, which was extremely profound, but this is going to help you guys, is what he calls the master key to influence. And this is going to set us up for the third principle I'm going to share with you guys. Because I want you guys to get this. The first one, Matthew 13 verse 44, we covered. The second one, Proverbs 18 verse 1, we covered. But the third one, I'm gonna share this as the alley-oop to help you. So one of the things I've learned from Dr. Myron Golden is about the master key of influence. And this is throughout the Bible. So it's not Myron Golden who originated it, but he actually designed this graphic which helps you understand it. And in life, one of the things that I think we all need to start to realize is how life works, okay? So let's take this person. Let's call this person Jeffrey. Jeffrey's looking that way. Jeffrey's looking at the facts of life. Now, what most of us don't realize is everyone has facts they're dealing with in life. If everyone has facts, someone write the word facts in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, write the word facts in the live chat. If you're watching on the replay, hashtag replay facts in the replay chat. I see it, facts. Everyone in life has facts. Now, here's the beautiful thing. All our facts have been framed. All our facts have been framed. And the thing that's beautiful that most people don't realize is facts come in two different styles. They come in positive and they come in negative. And the facts are what's in our head. Now, here's a beautiful thing, right? Most people don't realize that if your attitude is right, the facts don't matter. Why do the facts not matter if your attitude is right? Because if your attitude is right, no matter what the facts are, how positive they are, or how negative you are, or how negative they are, you're going to learn past the facts. You're going to turn past the facts. You're going to become stern about the facts you want to become stern about so you can earn from the facts. Does this make sense to somebody? Let's go deeper. I'm mindful of time. So what generally happens with most human beings is the facts go in their mind. And what these facts do is these facts produce for human beings literal thoughts, okay? The thoughts are a byproduct of people's facts. And these thoughts can be positive, just like the facts are being perceived, or these thoughts can be negative. Let me ask you something, guys. Have you ever seen a one-sided piece of bread? If you have, put a yes in the chat. Okay? Let me even ask another question. Have you ever seen a one-sided coin? If you have, put a yes in the chat. Okay? The reason you've never seen a one-sided piece of bread, the reason you've never seen a one-sided coin is because everything has two sides. Have you ever heard a one-sided story? Yes, but is that the only side of the story? No, because everything has more than one side. Why is this so important? It's so important because when you see facts, like Jeffrey sees facts, they're going to produce thoughts in your mind. They're going to produce thoughts. And let me tell you what those thoughts do. Those thoughts end up going into your heart. Let's give Jeffrey a heart. They go into your heart. And when those thoughts go into your heart, guess what they do? They produce feelings. They produce feelings. You see, so many human beings do not understand how their feelings are created. Their feelings are created by the thoughts they're having in their mind. So when someone's feeling depressed, when someone's feeling anxiety, when someone's feeling all of these negative feelings and thoughts, do you know why they're coming? They're coming from a byproduct of their thoughts. Why? Because that's what they've been learning about. So that's what's determined what they've turned towards. That determines what they become stern about. That determines where they earn from, what they've earned about. You're earning on a byproduct of how you're perceiving facts. And if the attitude is right, the facts don't matter. So when your thoughts produce feelings, let me ask you this question. If you have positive thoughts about facts, what kind of feelings do you think you're going to produce? Someone tell me in the chat. Those of you in the room, feel free to unmute and tell me. If you're looking at the facts positively and they produce positive thoughts, what kind of feelings do you think they produce? There you go. Someone said happy feelings. That's positive feelings. Let's look at the other side. If you're looking at the facts and perceiving the facts negatively and they're giving you negative thoughts, what kind of feelings do you have then? People don't realize this. This is why some people are messed up. That's right. Anxiety. You have negative feelings. You see, some people don't realize that negative feelings are why people are anxious. They have anxiety around things. Do you know what anxiety is? It's when an imagined danger is preventing you from doing stuff. It's when an imagined danger is inside of your heart and you're like, oh no, but what if? Do you know the opposite of anxiety? The opposite of anxiety, when you have positive thoughts, is actually having anticipation. Anticipation. I remember when I was young, when it was Christmas, we'd be getting ready for Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. We stay up all night. Why? The energy that was created, the feelings of anticipation created energy. It created so much energy, we couldn't literally go to sleep. That's anticipation. Me and my brothers would literally be up all night, giggling, laughing, talking. Why? We couldn't wait to open the presents. Anticipation. Some of you have no anticipation for your future. That's why you're looking at seeds with greed. That's why you're looking at seeds as though they're the best thing you've got. And let me tell you why that happens. It happens because you've probably spent the last 30 years. You've probably spent the last 40 years. You've probably spent the last 50 years looking at those seeds and thinking they're the biggest thing you could have. Let me share something with you. I want to help you guys. If you've ever worked a job, just put the word yes in the chat, all right? And if you're inside of the private room, participate. If you're not going to participate, there's no point being in the private room. That's why you're in the private room. All right, I see yes from one person. Let's keep going. And if you're watching us on YouTube, let me know in the chat. If you've ever worked a job, just put the word yes in the chat. If you're watching this on a replay, hashtag yes in the comments, right? Okay, the chats are blowing up now. Yes, yes. I'm being commented. I'm being messaged private as well. Can you, everyone just make sure that we're commenting to everyone so everyone can see everything, right? So here's my question to you. The first job you ever worked, how much did you get paid per hour? I want you to throw that in the chat, right? What was your hourly rate per hour? Throw that in the chat. I can tell you mine. The first job I ever worked was part-time in Clark's. Clark's is a shoe shop for those of you who are in the States or if you don't know. I used to do work experience. I did work experience from secondary school in Clark's. They offered me a job and I decided to take a job. I think it was a Sunday job or Saturday job, some kind of weekend job. So they were paying me £4.17 an hour. That was the first job I ever had, right? Dwayne says £8.75 per hour. Thank you, Dwayne. All right, so Dwayne in his first job was making more than double what I was making in my first job. Crazy, right? Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I want the answers, please, right? And those of you who are delaying, okay, you're slowing us down from adding value to the community. So come on, guys, let's get those answers in. All right. So here's the reason why I'm sharing this with you. Dwayne, feel free to unmute. Let's have Dwayne because he put his answer in first.
Yes, clear.
Here's a question, Dwayne, right? If someone offered you £8.75 to work a job today, what would you say?
Yeah, no, not worth it.
All right. Now, why would you say it's not worth it now, but you took it before?
Because my situation's changed now.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Dwayne.
Okay.
All right. I'm seeing more numbers come in the chat. Daryl saying £4.50. Benga saying £5. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. I want you guys to catch this, okay? I really want you guys to catch this. Dwayne said if someone offered him £8.75 an hour now, he would say no because his situation's changed. I submit to you guys that the reason why Dwayne would not take £8.75 now is because £8.75 doesn't look like a tree anymore. There was a time that £8.75 looked like something you wanted to get. It wasn't a seed, it was the tree. And you received it as a tree. But now, as Dwayne said, because his situation's changed, because now he's seen other things as a tree, more revenue is accessible to him, the $8.75 isn't even a tree anymore. It might not even be a seed for him anymore. He might throw $8.75 on a coffee now and not even realize, oh, that used to be a whole hour of my salary. Guys, I can't even tell you what I do with £4.75 today. I wouldn't even know. Why? Because that's no longer a tree for me. But there was a time it was a tree for me. How did I go from earning $4.75 an hour to now a strategy call with me or one of my high-level coaches is £5,495? How did I go from an hour of my time being worth £4.75 to now being worth £5,495? I'm going to tell you how I went from there. I went from there by learning stuff. I went to there by turning from stuff. I went to there by becoming stern about stuff. I went to there by starting to earn stuff. Some of us don't realize that we are stuck where we are because we're looking at the £8.75, the £4.50, the £5, the £4.75 as trees. Now let me share something with you. Your £8.75 yesterday, Dwayne, is a new amount today. My £4.75 yesterday is a new amount today. Benga's £5 yesterday is a new amount today. Daryl's £4.50 yesterday is a new amount today. What am I saying to you? I'm saying to you that it might have been £4.75 yesterday, but it's still an amount today. There's an amount that you are focused on today as though that's what you're worth an hour. For me right now, it's that $5,495. And guess what's going to happen? As I keep learning, keep turning, become more stern, I'm going to keep earning. That's not going to be forever. $5,495 for an hour. People who pay that today are getting a steal of a deal. Let me tell you why. Because it's not going to be that price forever. Are you guys understanding what I'm talking about? If you are, let me see the yes in the chat. Here's what I want you to understand. All learning is a byproduct. All earning, is a byproduct of learning. If you don't learn, you cannot earn. If you don't learn, you cannot turn. That's why the reason you cannot earn. Some people are at the learner phase wishing they were at the earner phase. Some people have only just turned, but they're thinking they deserve to earn. Guys, there is a path to earning. So as Dr. Myron Golden shares, we have thoughts that are a byproduct of the facts we focus on, which produce feelings. And these feelings produce something so amazing. They produce what most people have no idea about. They produce, I'm going to put it in the legs rather than in the hands. They produce functions. Now, the beautiful thing is if the thoughts about the facts can be positive or negative, then the feelings from the thoughts will ultimately be positive or negative. And if the feelings from the thoughts will either be positive or negative, guys, what two ways can the functions be based on the feelings that we have? Someone tell me in the chat, someone unmute and let me know, guys. There's only two ways these functions can come.
Positive or negative.
There we go. We can have positive functions or negative functions. Let me give you an example of a negative function. Procrastination. Some of us have been dealing with procrastination and hesitation around the things that we desire in our life. Do you know why? Because we have focused on facts from a negative perspective. We then have negative thoughts. They produce negative feelings of anxiety, and anxiety is the thief of your dream. It helps you procrastinate and stops you from accumulating. The negative function is having powerlessness. You are created to be powerful. I'm going to say that again because some of you haven't heard that in a while. You are created to be powerful. But as long as you look at facts negatively, you will have thoughts that are negative, you will produce feelings that are negative, and as a result, you will have functions of powerlessness. You will have no power in your hands and feet to do what you need to do. The positive feeling is power. As long as you look at the facts positively, your thoughts will be positive. You'll produce feelings that are positive in order to have a positive function in your hand, which is positive power. When you look at people who are achieving and you're asking yourself, how comes they always get it? How comes they're always winning? I'm here to tell you why they always get it and why they're always winning. Because of how they look at the facts. As I shared with you guys, this is from Dr. Myron Golden, who actually breaks this down. He actually breaks this down a lot more in depth on one of his videos on YouTube, which is called The Master Key to Influence, right? Dr. Myron Golden, The Master Key to Influence. That's one of my coaches. So if you want to go and watch this, you can literally watch his TEDx talk where he breaks this down. So why am I sharing this with you? I'm going to tell you why. Because most people don't realize that the power of sowing lives in the principle of the other side of it. The power of getting lives in the principle of giving. Most people want to get, but they don't understand that the power of getting lives in the principle of giving. If you don't learn the principle of giving, you will never produce the power of getting. Let me share that one more time so you guys can understand this. If you don't learn the principle of giving, you will never have the power of getting. Because the power of getting lives within the principle of giving. This is where people are going wrong in life. People think they want to get. So you know what they do? They work hard and sweat. Let me tell you something. Working hard and sweating is not the formula for getting. Working hard and sweating is the formula for feeling tired. Working hard and sweating is the formula for not getting. How many of us have got parents who passed away or who are struggling today because of jobs they worked Monday to Friday, some of them Monday to Sunday, slaving, trying to get ahead? If anyone has a parent, knows someone with a parent who's gone through what I just described, just put me in the chat so I know I'm not alone. The power of reaping lives in the principle of sowing. The power of reaping lives in the principle of sowing. I see me in the chat. I see me in the chat. I see me in the chat. More me's coming in the chat. Those of you using YouTube, let me see the word me if that's you. Let me tell you why this is so profound. This is so profound because I'm sure your parents are not ignorant. I'm sure your parents are intelligent. I'm sure your parents are intelligent. I'm sure your parents are intelligent. One of the reasons I know your parents are intelligent is because of how intelligent you are. But here's the funniest thing. With all their intelligence, how did they end up struggling, striving, and just surviving? How? I can tell you how. Because they didn't realize that the power of them getting is actually hidden within the principle of them giving. Most of us want to go far ahead, but we don't realize we can't get ahead if we keep trying to be the head. I'll say that again for those of you who need it a bit slower. Most of us want to go far ahead, but haven't realized we can't get ahead if we keep trying to only be the head. Jesus said it in a way better than I could say it. He said, if you want to be the greatest of all, you must first become the servant of all. Let me wrap up with this. Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. We become our best based on what we invest. Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. We become our best based on what we invest. You see, most people have never invested anything but think they deserve everything. Do you know what the definition of investing is? Let me explain it to you to help you. Investing is when you put something in order to get more out. Let's make it simple. Investing is when you put something in order to get more out. Have you realized why your future hasn't been producing what you want it to produce now? Because you haven't put anything in. You've put in hard work and sweat. Well, that's all you're going to get. Some people want more money. You've never put down any money. Some people want more freedom. You've never helped anyone else get more freedom. I don't know if you understand, the power of getting lives inside of the principle of giving. Let's go deeper. Matthew chapter 6, I'm going to read verse 21. I pray this is going to bless you. We become our best based on what we invest. Matthew 6:21, so profound. It says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Why am I sharing this with you? I want you guys to read this whole chapter of Matthew 6 when you get time. But the reason I'm sharing this specific verse with you quite quickly because of time is because I want you to understand something. The reason why you get your best based on what you invest is because what you invest determines where you focus. If you don't focus on learning, turning, becoming more stern so you can earn, if you don't focus on this, you can't get the best out of that. You get your best out of what you invest. And where your treasure is will determine where your heart is also. With that being said, guys, meet me at the other cam as we literally wrap up with today's session. Because guys, I want to encourage you to do something that maybe no one's ever encouraged you to. I want to encourage you to make a decision today. That decision is a decision of commitment. And here's the question I have for you. Will you commit to discovering the principles, or will you remain comfortable without the power? That's the commitment I want to check in with you guys about today. Will you commit to discovering principles, or are you going to stay content without having any power? For those of you on YouTube, if you got value from this video today, I want you to hit the like button if you've liked the stuff you've heard. Side by side with that, if you believe that there's someone you know who could receive value from this content, I'd love for you to hit that share button and share this with those who you love most dearly and most closely. And last but not least, if you haven't already, why don't you consider subscribing so you can be a part of our community as we continue to help you move further faster in your future. For those of you on YouTube, we're going to love you, we're going to leave you, and we're going to see you another time. For those of you inside of the private room, we're going to open up for questions, comments, and shares. So let's get those hands up inside of the Zoom. Good day. God bless. Sammy, I can win. I'll see you another time. Let's go.
Yes, King.
All right, let's go.